This is another video about Puerto Penasco, Mexico. It's also known as Rocky Point. Uh, Puerto Penasco is on the Gulf of California, also known as the Sea of Cortez, and is about 200 miles from Tucson, 200 miles from Phoenix, and about 300 miles from San Diego. The RV park that I'm going to go to today is next to the Sonoran Sun Resort. It's right on the beach. There's about a few miles stretch of beach probably between the Sonoran Sun and where the town starts is probably about a mile stretch of beach. And right next to the Sonoran Sun again is the RV park. And I walked through it and actually talked to people in the office and people that stayed there. And I was a little surprised at how much it costs to actually stay in these parks. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the cost of staying there and if it's a good value versus the alternatives of where else you can stay in Puerto Penasco. So walking off the beach right here, we see the first RV. I guess you call this a fifth wheel. And you can see that this thing looks like it's going to be here a while because there's concrete blocks all over it, like as if it's a permanent setup. So that's the first thing I noticed, is that some people here look like they're here year round or maybe years at a time. And some of these RVs look like they could be here just for a few days or a few weeks or something along those lines. But generally speaking, most of these RVs look pretty new, not run down, pretty expensive. You see a lot of them have slide outs and things like that. So they're more modern. Some of these are almost built into like little stores or something that they sell stuff in. It's kind of like a little town for some of them. I don't know what the rules are for selling things out of this RV park. As far as RV parks go, this is probably the Ritzy R1, if you can say that, because there's another RV park a little bit east of here on the same beach, but not actually on the beach like this one is. It's about one lot behind the beach. So although you could probably see the water from that lot, it's not right on the water like this one is. But the difference is that they don't have the facilities that this place has. They don't have I think the water, the sewage hookup, and all that stuff. It's just basically a lot that you can park and get your own electricity, bring your own water, and that kind of thing. From what I saw on somebody's video on YouTube, I actually looked up because my friend told me about a guy that was RVing in that lot, and he thought it was the same lot that I was walking through. So I looked it up and I saw that lot, and he mentioned that it only cost $12 a day. So that's pretty cheap, I would say, especially after I found out how much the prices here cost. But like I said, the two different lots. This one's on the beach. This one gives you Wi-Fi, electricity, sewage hookup. There's showers, bathrooms, washing machines, and things like that. But even so, I was still pretty surprised when I went to the office and I talked to the lady there, and she gave me a sheet that told me all the prices. So apparently there's two kinds of pricing. One for beachfront, which is that front line to the left over there that literally faces the beach, and the rest, I guess they call it ocean view. So I'm guessing everything that's not beachfront is ocean view. So ocean view is $24 a day, $144 a week, and $536 a month. Okay, now beachfront is $29 a day, $203 a week, and $786 a month. When I saw these prices, I thought they were pretty crazy. I talked to a friend of mine who knows about RVs, or more like fantasizes about it, because he watches a lot of these channels and fantasizes about getting an RV and going off and things like that. While I know almost nothing about RVs, I did go with him to an RV show once, so I don't know if that counts, but basically I know nothing about these RVs except that some of them are really expensive. But looking at the prices here for staying here, it to me it seems like it's completely not worth it. Now, obviously everybody's opinion is different, but I mean, if you're just looking at from purely a financial point of what it costs you to stay in Puerto Penasco for any period of time, it doesn't seem that staying in an RV, especially in one of these lots where you're paying, $800 or $500 a month, on top of having to bring your own RV and pay the gas cost to drive down and everything like that, doesn't make a lot of sense. There are apartments you can rent in Puerto Penasco for definitely cheaper than $786 a month. I'm I'm sure of that, because the locals who live here aren't paying $786 a month. That's for sure. Now, you're not going to stay in some of these new condo buildings like the ones you see right in front of us, the Sonoran Sun Resort or something like that, because they're much newer. They're pretty big. They have a pool, a jacuzzi, a gym, and all this stuff. But there are some other buildings that a little farther down, you could probably find some monthly rentals, especially in the off season. So to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense that, one, you have to get your own RV, which means buy it or lease it or whatever. And these things are pretty expensive to begin with. Now, if you see these RVs that have these slide outs and things like that, some of them can get really expensive. I looked up a few of these from the names I saw and saw that they could be as expensive as $600,000 brand new, like this one, Marquee. um, it doesn't make a lot of sense if you're spending that kind of money to stay in an RV park. You could much easier take the money you were going to spend in this RV and put it in a bond fund or a mutual fund, and the money you make on that just from the interest or the dividends could very easily pay for an apartment even in one of these nicer places right here on the beach without you having to lug around this RV every place you go. So, and then the added benefit of not having to pay 786 on top of that. So, I mean, just do the math. Let's say you bought a used one of these expensive RVs. Even if you paid $100,000 for one, that's 4 or 5 grand in interest you're paying if you're getting a loan for it. And if you're not getting a loan for it and you're paying cash for it, that's $4 or $5,000 in foregone dividends or interest that you could have gotten by putting that money elsewhere and just renting an apartment. So, I mean, you think about it, that's $400 or $500 a month on top of the 786 or 536 you'd be paying to stay in this lot. So that's easily $1,000 a month that you have to play around with to rent a place out here. And it's a lot easier to just drive down here with your car. It's much less gas, and you stay here for a month or two and go to the next place and rent. And you don't have to lug along this RV. And another thing is, these RVs are the price of a house, yet they depreciate like a car. So you're getting the worst of both worlds here. So I would not recommend it unless you're doing it really cheaply. You got a $10,000-$20,000 RV and you're staying in the $12 lot and you got your own solar and all that stuff, then go for it. But the whole lifestyle of selling my house and buying this $200,000-$300,000 RV and traveling around, it seems to me like it's a losing proposition when you consider the alternatives of where you can stay for the same money and not have to put out a big lump sum or take out a huge loan to do so. So that's just my thoughts on this, and thank you for watching.